This is RPGDad,
RPGNate.
and this is our weekly Encounters wrap-up. We're doing, currently the season is Hoard of the Dragon Queen, and we had all finished episode 1, and, well, I think most of us had. Some are still in episode 1. I mean, we've got 12, 13 tables. It's no telling where everybody is. One table's probably already at episode 8, the way he's running through it.
Yeah.
Just kidding about that, but he is pretty far ahead.
No, he was still in episode 1 because you gave him a hard time.
Well, because he finished it in 2 weeks. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? But it was, he's running a little fast, and I think he was running it a little easy on the players on the table, too. So he should have been struggling a little more. But this week, we both did episode 2, the Raiders Camp. How did that go for you?
My players roleplayed a lot, actually.
Was there any combat at all? Other than knocking somebody out?
I think that was it.
With my players, we had one combat. They went into the ambush. And one player, it was his first week there, and with this Adventures League, even though everybody's second level, he had to come in at first.
Yep.
He was a first level rogue, and he took like 9 points of damage, and with 8 points as a rogue, he was down.
Yeah.
So that was pretty anticlimactic for him for his first Encounters event, but somebody got him up, and we rolled from there. So I think he said he's thinking about rolling a cleric for this week, since we don't have any.
Yeah.
Which a cleric would be welcome at the table, because I can't believe the number of tables that don't have clerics. It's insane. But I think part of that is the new rule set really has made clerics useless with 2 heals a day.
Yeah.
And
well, they had 2 heals a day before, but it
refreshed.
It was made up by Spare the Dying, and it did not refresh until an extended rest. So no matter what, healers have always been difficult to play until higher levels.
Well, I mean, if you go back to 4th edition rules, your heals were encounter powers, and
but still, that was only 2 heals an encounter, which could end up being rough.
It's still beneficial. You know, if you can get by with your 2 heals, and people have potions, or other people, or you have your healing surges and stuff like that, it can work. But, and we'll get to the actual episode, but this is one of the weak points of 1st edition, especially, or 5th edition, especially for low level characters, not having enough heals. They took Spare the Dying, which for the last year and a half, 2 years, gave at least a hit point. I think for a while it was like a D4.
No, it was 1 hit point up to 3, so you could continue using it after.
Yeah. So it was beneficial. Now it's just you don't have to make a saving throw, but you're still at 0 hit points. You could have the healer, the only person up, and all he can do because he's burned his heals is sit there going Spare the Dying, Spare the Dying, Spare the Dying, and make sure nobody has to make saving throws, but nobody can get up and help.
Yeah.
It was a really bad move. I don't know why, after having Spare the Dying being useful through the entire beta test, they made it useless. I mean, I know why. I mean, everybody out there that listens knows how much I despise Mike Merles. I think the game designers are just stupid as shit, and that's why we've got what we have. But, you know, the clerics should be more useful. They should be just like the magic user, where after an hour of praying, instead of whatever, they would get at least a spell slot back. It would make sense.
Yeah.
But no, they had to make a really stupid class that's useless and nobody wants to play.
Yeah.
So let us know how you did with the Raiders Camp.
Well, first they're going down the road and they see the Lost Raiders. And the Raiders are arguing amongst themselves, and they help them out and show them where it is. And they go along with them. So now it's like a big group of the party and the Raiders, because the Raiders think they're cultists. So they think they're allies. And then they make it to the rear guard. And the Raiders talk to them, and the party was just like, we're with them.
Well, see, I think you misread it, because they weren't lost. They were just kind of stragglers. They're slow.
Yeah.
And they're kind of disorganized. They're arguing with themselves, and that's why they were behind. I guess it's the cultists don't really like the kobolds. The kobolds don't like anybody. And that's the deal. You played it that they were lost. I played it that they were just slow. Either way, it works. And I know both of our groups had ended up that we role played through it.
Yeah.
So my group did it by coming in and trying to get information, which was kind of funny because, let's face it, the stragglers are still behind an army of a couple thousand guys.
Yeah.
You're not going to be lost. A blind man can follow those tracks. And they kept asking, do you know where everybody went? And the stragglers are just like, look at the ground and follow the thousands of footprints, especially the pack animals that are laden down with stuff we took from that town.
Yeah.
So they really didn't get any information out of them. They didn't join up with them, so they ended up getting to the rear guard, the ambush, the rear guard. And how did you guys get through that?
Well, they were dressed in cultist robes. They just looked like part of them, and they did they had the raiders do the secret handshake or whatever for them, and that's how they got through.
Ours got ambushed, and that was probably my error because half the group was dressed in cultist robes.
Yeah.
But I still ambushed them because I knew we would have no combat through the rest of the night. So it's kind of mean, but yeah, we had the ambush. I figured, my table usually plays pretty smart. I kind of had to push them along last week with what to do once they got to camp. Other than that, basically the camp was searching for, what's the guy's name, Leonid?
Yeah.
And the monk.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole gist of this. After they finished at Greenest, somebody came up and said, the monk's missing. He was in combat and got dragged off. So you're supposed to go and try to rescue him.
Yeah.
So how did your group rescue the monk?
Well, first, because
I know you had a little bickering at your table, which was kind of funny. But...
Yeah. Because one of the ideas, because he was a wood elf, and I hinted at that, and they're continuing to plan, and I continue hinting that he's a wood elf. It's just like, he's a damn wood elf, think about that. And they're just like, oh, we could replace him with another wood elf. So then they are planning how to take care of this for like half an hour.
Are you saying all wood elves look alike?
No, he just needs to be a wood elf. I don't know why it said if he was a wood elf or some shit like that, they would be distracted for 2 hours.
But, that's kind of stupid. So I guess they're saying, oh, wood elves look alike.
Yeah, that's racist.
It wouldn't surprise me, but
One of the plans, which ended up getting dismissed fastly, and the player was pouty about it, was to hide or to take one down behind a bush. But there were caves around this place, and bushes you're going to be seeing.
Well, did you stress that there were caves all in the walls with
balls
and stuff like that? Because that's in the description.
One of my main role players, he dismissed it pretty quickly. I don't think he even paid attention to it. But they were pretty intent on taking him into a cave. So she was kind of being a contrarian with the bush. So they end up calling one over, telling them that they need some help with something. They knock him out. And then, because I figured I'd make a noise, right? A couple of cultists are standing outside trying to figure out what happened. And they're just like, oh, he got wasted and... He insisted that he could spider climb the cave, and we told him he couldn't do it, but he did it anyways, and he fell, and that was the noise you heard. So, I figured that would be good. And they're dragging him along like he's drunk and unconscious, and they wait for the guards to shift out, because I figured that's the only way you're going to get him, if the guards shift out. I didn't... So they get him in there. They replace him, and then they move on and they take care of the prisoners as well.
Now, did they get much of this information out of them?
The information on this page?
On the exploring the camp.
He can tell them, so that's how they got it.
Okay. Yeah, what my table ended up doing, they pretty much explored the area. They were trying to find the guy. And once they actually found the guy, he didn't want to leave.
No.
He had his out. He knew he was going to get out either way. So, they're like, "Oh, we're here to rescue you," and he's like, "I'm exactly where I want to be. Leave me alone." Because that was his response anyway.
Yeah.
And nobody knew he had his little knife in the boot and he planned to cut himself loose. I mean, I guess these are the worst bad guys ever because
How was he going to get the knife out of his boot though?
He is a monk, so I guess he's nimble. He's one of those nimble wood elves.
That's retarded.
Well, that's the plan, and that's the way it was written, and that's the way I played it. So the minute he was like, "I'm exactly where I want to be. Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone," because two of them went over, they made their charisma checks, and they were talking to the guards, kibitzing with them a little bit.
Yeah.
And so the others went over, and they're talking to him, and he's like, "Just get the hell out of here. I'll meet you down the road tonight."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." So they didn't get all the XP they could have gotten.
Mine got to full 600 and leveled up.
So mine did not get everything well, actually, by the time they got done, because of the combat, they did get the 600 XP, but they didn't get the extra XP for rescuing Leosin, because he's going to rescue himself, and he talked them out of doing that. They didn't do the decoy. The other prisoners, they didn't seem to give a shit about the other prisoners. They didn't rescue them.
Oh, my party was really worried about rescuing them.
They didn't do that.
They acted like they were under orders to take them and take repair stuff, I think.
And did they get them out that way?
Yeah.
See, they didn't get the prisoners out. All kinds of stuff. So they're going to have a new clan of cultists coming off because these guys are going to get brainwashed, because that's what happens to all the prisoners.
Yeah.
But they still managed to get their XP because of the combat.
Yeah.
But I was a little disappointed this week because they didn't do a lot of the stuff they could have done. But it still worked out. I mean, we got our 2 hours time in. Now, the issue that I have with episode 2 is even if you got 2 combats, if they decide to fight the first group and then they fight through the ambush and then they get captured, this is supposed to take 3 weeks.
I see why. Their figure in combat takes the same as Back and Forth, where it's one night for one encounter.
But it's not. And, I mean, this is the dumbest stuff I've ever seen. They wrote the system for simple combat. People have been doing this and getting 4 or 5 combats a night in with the beta rules, which are not that much different combat-wise than what we have now. And I just don't comprehend how you write a module and put in it, this will take 2 to 3 sessions when it's a 1-session module, especially under current rules. Unless you have DMs that are like, okay, well, we've gotten the combat in, we're done. Okay, we're only done 45 minutes. Too bad, go home. I mean, that's a surefire way to lose people because nobody wants to spend an hour on the road, 45 minutes to and from, to do a little bit of combat and then go home. They expect their 2 hours, and I expect to give them their 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my firm belief, and I've gone back and forth with some of the Wizards people on their Facebook page and stuff where they're dumb enough to come in and post. And I have real issues with they're giving a PDF for 18 to 20 weeks worth of role play that is maybe going to last 10. And I know what they want. They want the DMs to buy the book to get the full 8 chapters out of it. But then they come on and say, well, nobody should be going above 4th level at encounters. But if you're going to buy the book, you're going to try to play out that 7, 8 episodes to get to 8th level.
Yeah, so they can go fuck themselves. I'm going to finish off this damn book.
Well, we were fortunate. We got a discount off of it. What I really like is when the Wizards people say, well, just ask everybody to chip in $5 at the table and you can buy the book. Most people don't have regular players at the table, and whether it's the DM or the store sitting there asking people to chip in so they can finish an adventure, bullshit. And this is
D&D shouldn't have microtransactions.
D&D's always been Encounters has always been a free event. Now Wizards is taking the thing, well, it's up to the store whether or not they want to charge people to sit down at a table. That's bullshit too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Wizards went from 4th edition where you'd get your Encounters materials, you get quality maps and good materials, to now they want you to pay for crap and charge people at the table. I mean, you would think it's a Magic the Gathering tournament when they're talking about charging people $5 to come and sit down at a table to play a free RPG.
Yeah.
You're going to lose people because they're not getting anything for that $5.
It's just turning into WoW for tabletop. You have to pay. You have to buy the game, and then you have to pay a subscription
Pay a
fee.
subscription fee, which is your weekly gaming fee if you want to play at the store. Fortunately, our store, I don't think will ever do that. But, I mean, for the people from Wizards to even suggest that, they're a bunch of fucking assholes. I mean, I have real issues with what's going on right now. I mean, I'll keep playing because I enjoy the game. I like the people I play with. And I like the fact that people come, enjoy it, and get into the hobby. What I don't like is that Wizards has just become such a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reflected in their management on down to the people that you talk to on the Facebook pages to everything else that represents them. They're a bunch of fucking assholes.
And then the people they chose to represent them for encounters, they're not that great either.
What do you mean?
The regional coordinators.
I have no idea who the regional guy is. I haven't met him, so I can't say anything. If I ever meet him, then I can make a decision. But it's not necessarily the regionals. It's the people that are above them that Wizards
I really hope the
with.
regional never thinks he actually has the authority to come down to the store and boss us.
There's only one person at that store that has any authority, and that's the owner. And I'm sure the owner, if somebody came in and started giving everybody a hard time, would say, get the fuck out, because that's his attitude. I mean, he doesn't like it if people misbehave in the store. He'll tell them, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's why he trusts me, because he knows that if somebody does something in the store, I'm going to tell them, get the fuck out. I won't allow stuff to happen at the table. That's maybe a video, maybe a podcast, but it's something I kind of want to talk about in one of our upcoming things. You know, I know there are people out there that come that are mad because I've done stuff like banning evil alignment at encounters and expeditions.
Well, you're supposed to ban evil alignment. That's something that's even said in the book.
No, because unfortunately they can be in Zentarum or Lord's Alliance, and they say you can be lawful evil. But the issue is, then you have somebody that'll sit there and say, I'm evil, that's what my character would do. And they're making the rest of the table either uncomfortable, unhappy, or they're just acting like a dick. And you have the potential for losing people at the table just to keep one asshole that's going to say, that's what my character would do, or you're ruining my fun. Well, if you're an asshole, I don't care if I ruin your fun, because you're ruining everyone else's fun. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that's something we need to talk about more in depth, and that's outside of encounters. Now, this week, have you looked over this week's encounter session?
No.
Yeah, I've got to look over it too. Like I said, the Raiders camp, I don't know how that was supposed to be 2 to 3 weeks, but it wasn't. And then we have the Dragon Hatchery, which is supposed to take 8 to 9 weeks, I think it is. And I mean, I'm looking at.
I remember back when I was playing.
This is 8 pages, and it's supposed to take 8 to 9 weeks. I don't see that happening. And there are a lot of pages where it's just areas where you're not having combat. It's like, oh, look at this.
Yeah. I remember back when I used to, or back in that first 129 packet when I played my Chaotic Evil Monk, and I said I shoot the first thing that I see, and the first thing that I saw was a person, and I shot it. That was hilarious. Luckily, we didn't have a paladin at the table.
Yeah, you know, and I wasn't running that table, but I just have issues with people taking evil characters at the table, especially at encounters and expeditions. It's supposed to be something where everyone has fun without something stupid happening, where they feel they need to intercede with another character's behavior because of their alignment. If I've got a whole bunch of neutral and good characters, you're generally not going to have that. Yeah. You're also not going to have somebody doing something psychotic. Now, the only time that I think it's okay to make an exception to the no evil characters is outside of organized play, where it's a group maybe, and they've decided they wanted to play an evil campaign. They know there's going to be backstabbing. They know there's going to be a bunch of douchebaggery, and that's fine. But in organized play setting, there's no room for it, because that just leaves too much open for somebody to harass people at the table, backstab people, just make everyone uncomfortable and unhappy, and you can't have that. You just can't have that. And as an organizer, I can't have that. And I make it very clear to people, you know, if you play evil, you can write down what you want But if you actually play evil and I get any complaints, you're the one that's gone because I'm keeping 5 happy people at the table and I don't care about the 6th douchebag.
Yeah.
Because I really don't. I don't care about the asshole at the table. It's the 5 people that the store would lose as opposed to the 1 person that the store wouldn't care if they lost. Because they won't.
Yeah. Well, let's not try to drag this video on like we normally do.
So, but that's it. I guess we'll move to the Dragon Hatchery tonight, and we'll see how that goes.
Is it tonight?
It
Shit,
is
it is Wednesday.
Tonight is Wednesday.
I thought it was Tuesday.
It's because we had off Monday because we went and did a whole lot of nothing for your mom's and my anniversary.
Yeah.
But, yep, that's it for the Encounters wrap-up this week. We'll let you know how the Dragon Hatchery started out and went tonight. Hopefully it won't be a one-night chapter. That would really suck.
Yep.
But that we should be back, and we still need to do one to talk about all 3 of the expeditions.
Yes.
And so, because we've done all 3 expeditions now, I've run 1 and played 2. You've run 3.
Yeah.
All 3. So we'll have to let you. I don't know. Maybe this weekend I'll run your table for you so you can sit down and play.
All right.
And we'll see how that goes. But we still need to sit down and do something about expeditions and what we think of it so far.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's it for today.
Yep, that is.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, favorite, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks again. Bye.